Good morning, everyone. This is Nikachu, Merfolk Master, and we are here with, what is it, day 47? 47 of Coffee and MTG, the morning Magic the Gathering talk show where you give questions, we're going to provide answers, and also, if you got some deck lists, share your sweet lists. Let's see how we can improve them. Let us have a really good, great conversation as we do every single weekday of the month. Let us talk some Magic and enjoy a delicious cup of coffee. You go wherever you are. You go brew up whatever you believe is your cup of magic, whether it be tea, coffee, maybe a Slurpee. I have nothing against the Slurpees right now in the heat of the summer. And let's talk some magic today. Good morning already, Kyoka 620. Some people do not trust the notifications. Do not trust the notifications. If you're like Kyoka 620, just show up. Just show up at twitch.tv/NikachuMTG. So far, we're still doing this Monday to Friday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. If you want to be part of the show, if you want to ask questions and part of the discussion, the conversation, come on down. We are ready. We're absolutely ready. Kyoka's ready. Good morning, Kyoka 620. And yeah, I'm ready. I've got my coffee. I've brewed it up. I got my coffee mate inside. You know, we've run out of milk today, but that's okay. We've got like a little artificial milk or whatever, substitute. It all works. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good with me. So that's all what I'm saying. So go brew yourself up a nice, delicious cup of whatever it is, and let's talk some magic. And the one thing I could talk about, that's starting to terrify me is LURRUS is back. Before we get into any discussions, LURRUS is back, and it's actually been slotted into the JUND deck to, I think, a pretty good effect. It's already put up a top 8. Let's see if I can find the top 8 finish. But LURRUS has been slotted into the JUND deck, and now JUND is basically back, and I think it's going to be back in a very big way because the innovations utilizing LURRUS makes the deck like incredibly powerful. So let's see. Let's see if I can find this list. No, it's not this one. I'm gonna find the list. Oh, is it something like this? I don't know if this is the exact list, but let me show it to you. It's like, it has similarities to this. So there's one LURRUS in here. I think, I'm not sure what the shadow, I mean, this is a Death Shadow list. But I'm seeing a little bit more LURRUS in these sort of, it's actually Death Shadow as well. Yeah, I'm seeing more. This is like JUND Death Shadow. So we're utilizing the best parts of both JUND and Death Shadow at the same time. Because Mishra's Bauble is already played in the Death Shadow deck. So now why not just play LURRUS? Why not just play it in the main deck? You don't need it as a oh, that's right. Have you figured out the Discord stuff? I had an appointment with my stream coach and I totally forgot about it. And I think he totally forgot about it too. I even had it written down. Damn it, Bother Sean. What happened there? What happened? All right, I gotta reassign something because yeah, it's everything got figured out with the Discord, but I just need to make a permanent link, and that's the only thing I have to do. So that actually should be easy. I just have to get around to it. But the Discord stuff has been figured out. For anyone who's a subscriber, should have access to my Discord if I make the link available. So sorry about that. Sorry to everyone who I have not created that link for yet. But yeah, so this is devastating that now they're utilizing LURRUS, and I don't know if this is the only one. Let's see if we can see more deck lists. Decks. Come on. Metagame. Tournament search. Modern challenge. I want to see the top 8. There was a top 8 finish. Like really recently. There we go. By Zyrudo. Sorry. Zyro. Boom. This is what I'm talking about. All right. This is classic Jund here, people. Classic Jund is just throwing LURRUS in their deck because why not? And not only that, now that this is part of the innovation. Now, the other big part of the innovation is Mishra's Bauble, because Mishra's Bauble, I think, works very well in the Jund deck. How else are you going to grow this Tarmogoyf to something outrageously large in a very short amount of time? You're going to do it with Mishra's Bauble. If you can get an artifact in the graveyard, just like the Shadow players have been doing all along, all right? They've been doing this for forever. You're going to make your Tarmogoyfs that much more dangerous, and you're going to increase the clock of the Tarmogoyfs and give Jund the actual power in order to close the damn games out. But they pull double duty. They got LURRUS, which is the ultimate grinding card, which means they can bring back like Renin 6s from, like, it's anything, right? During each of your turns, you may cast one permanent spell with converted mana cost 2 or less from your graveyard. So, see? So, like, you can bring back Tarmogoyf, you can bring back Scavenging Ooze, you can bring back Kroxa. You have, like, infinite Kroxas that you can cast. You can bring back Renin 6, but the point is LURRUS gives the Jund deck some life gain, but also gives them like even a higher threat density that they had before because they're utilizing Mishra's Bauble. So anyway, this is a huge innovation to the Jund deck, and I actually think this might help push Jund to the forefront, and we are actually already seeing like more Jund results. So this is a big deal, and I think a lot of people are going to want to go down the Jund route because this is one of the well, I wouldn't say it's one of the few decks. This is one of the better decks that can utilize Plague Engineer, which is wrecking the metagame because of all the goblins that are out there. All the goblins. And they can use Boil, too, which beats up on the control deck. So Jund is actually looking a lot better now than it ever has before, now that they're going to adopt LURRUS. And I can only expect that Jund is going to be a very serious contender. I've been, like, criticizing... If you've watched this show, I've been criticizing Jund for forever, saying that the Jund community is really closed-minded. They don't want to innovate. They don't want to change. This is a big change in the right direction. LURRUS and Mishra's Bauble in the main deck, I think, is going to be a very big deal. And I mean, in my opinion, they should still also adopt cards like Traverse the Ulvenwold, so they can find their Tarmogoyfs more reliably, so that they can find their LURRUSes more reliably. I think that would put that. I think that's a card that could put this deck completely over the top. You know, they can recycle Seal of Fire and stuff like that. But anyway, it's LURRUS in a Jund shell, which we saw before, but might even be better in this sort of build. Might be just as good because they're one of the few decks that can really utilize LURRUS after, even though it's not even though it is not a companion. So anyway, that's all I wanted to share with you. And we are seeing more and more LURRUS being thrown into decks just as a creature, not as a companion, because it is so damn strong. So we got the morning crowd already arriving. Good morning, Thomas. Good morning, the pessimist scientist. I'm doing great. I have a great morning. I've got like my great cup of coffee. Good morning, Tuxdev. Good morning, Zadirius. Good morning, Mike. Good morning, Reformed One Trick, and to Andrew Wiggin, M. Vargas Morin. Noise. Damn it. Yeah, damn it. Damn it, Bobby. What we got here? Dzień dobry. Kaktusov Vishmok. Twitch actually notified me today. Yay. Good morning. Great kiosk. The Amazon Prime series. That's right. Niels Nielsen. Good morning. Let's see. Oh, the Amazon Prime series that you'll never watch, but you can give me your Amazon Prime. And that's if anyone has those Amazon Primes, you send them to Nikachu, because like Nikachu, give me Jeff Bezos's money. Hi, Master. 1 draw and 2 losses on F&M with Yorion, Mono Blue, and Pioneer last Friday. Got to work on the deck, or you got to change it one way or another. Could we use LURRUS in the main deck on a blue, black, or Sultai shell? It's possible, but I don't know if we can abuse it as well as like other decks. Like if you look at something like Jund, like they're utilizing other cards like Seal of Fire, Nihil Spellbomb, and certainly we could do similar things with like what's it called, Soul Guy Lantern. So maybe we do have a lot more room to play LURRUS. The difficult, well, I guess you could just throw it in. Yeah, we're not using it as a companion anymore. You just play it as a creature. Great question. Great question. Maybe this is, if Jund is doing it, if Death Shadow is doing it, Maybe we should start doing it. Maybe we should start looking into stuff like that. Very interesting question. Maybe that's something that we have to explore. Give me a link so I can make a command for it. Let's talk later, TuxDev. Let me know, and I'll make it, because I need to make one apparently that's permanent, right? I need to make a permanent one. Kyoka620. Seems like that Eldrazi-tron guy you had on the talk show should be happy nowadays. Yeah, it should be, but he's like playing... He's not even playing Eldrazi-tron all the time. He's playing like Devoted Devastation. Hello, Augustin Lacastro. So, good morning, Willie Hall. And so, as you need to know, we are for the first 30 minutes, it's Q&A, and then the last 30 minutes we accept Decklist for review. So, bring on your questions. Let's talk some Magic. It's going to be a great morning, as we do every morning. Good morning, Nikachu. Went 4-1 playing with 16 Lords yesterday. Only lost the last game to Goblins. Ow, those damn Goblins. And those 16 Lords should help against those Goblins, because you want to race and put as much pressure on them as possible. Congratulations. Anyway, either way, congratulations. Great result. I see they're starting to realize that Liliana is not really that good anymore. Great question. Yeah, like that's a great comment. Like Liliana here. What else is not very big? So we don't have as many Lilianas as we used to. We don't even have as many fatal pushes as we used to. Interesting. We are leaning more on Lightning Bolt. No abrupt decays in this list. Leaning more on 2 Assassin's Trophy, 2 Kolaghan's Command, a Maelstrom Pulse. Also not leaning on as many Wrenn and 6s. Also not as many Bloodbraid Elves in this Jund list. That's also a very like most Jund lists are like all on Bloodbraid Elf. Look at that, 1 Kroxa. This was supposed to be the reason that Jund was kind of going to come back, and now there's only 1 copy in here. What's going to be the future of Jund? It's going to be LURRUS. It's probably going to be LURRUS. LURRUS is definitely the future of Jund. Main deck LURRUS. Damn it, Jund became harder to beat. Yes, it has. My God, it has been a lot more difficult. Hesperosm, please leave us your deck list during the deck list moment. Right now, we're only taking questions. So when I call for deck list, bring them on, and I will review it. Nikachu, do you feel that Dredge is getting too many new toys? Well, here's the deal. Like, Dredge is just a graveyard deck, and they will always be printing graveyard cards. Like, no matter what, like, graveyard is a resource in Magic the Gathering. They've always made it like that. They've always made tools for you to recur stuff back from the graveyard. I don't think they're intentionally trying to give Dredge anything, but Dredge just so happens to be the most efficient, not only the most efficient, it's also just one of the hardest decks to interact with when they're trying to when they get their graveyard engine going, because aside from graveyard hate, like, you can't stop dredging. It's really hard. Once they put the dredge card in the graveyard, now they start just milling themselves, which is now official. Dredge is now a mill deck. Dredge mills themselves cards into the graveyard, and from there they can adopt like any new graveyard synergy, anything. So it's not like they're trying to give Dredge new stuff, but anything that has anything to do with the graveyard and that Dredge can utilize just gets adopted and absorbed into Dredge. So it's tough. Like, Dredge is just going to accidentally get new stuff, and maybe if they keep getting new toys, they're going to keep banning stuff from the deck. And I don't know what the next banning is going to be, but certainly as like the deck just gets stronger and stronger, we knew Creeping Chill put it over the top. I would actually personally like to see Creeping Chill get banned. I think that would even the deck out by a very large margin. I'd be curious to know what everyone else thinks. Like, they're not going to ban more Dredge cards. I don't think. I'm not going to put. They can do anything. Like, let's be serious. Wizards can do anything, but certainly if the Dredge deck keeps getting better and better, they will take action against it. And I just personally would like to see Creeping Chill go, to just make it possible to race them. Like, make it possible. Like, it's possible to race Dredge, but not if they start at 26 life and you start at 14. Jund on the rise, new innovation. Good morning, Mikey J. Got the I hope you got your coffee. It looks like with the salute emote, like you don't have a coffee. That's what salute looks like when he doesn't have his coffee in the morning. Surprised it took so long for LURRUS to find a home after the companion change. I don't think it's taken too long. You know, it took like a month for people to adopt Uro. So it's taken about a month, I think, after the a companion change for someone to adopt LURRUS. So I think it's about on time. Certainly, once something gets banned or weakened, no one wants to touch the deck or even try for a little while before they like go back and say, okay, let's try to make something new. Let's try to make something work. Let's see if there's some innovation to be had here. Good morning, my game crashed. Good morning, Brian Jin. Good morning, Bishark, Betamax. Do Twitch subs get access to the Discord? Yes, when I get it. Like, you already have access to the Discord. You just don't have access to the link to the Discord, which I have to enable on my Twitch channel. Good morning, Costa 998. Good morning. Yeah, good morning. Good morning again. Morning. Yeah, also morning, TFXD. My name is kind of weird. Salutations from Chile. Thank you very much. Good morning, Cleverboy31. So while one person went 4-1 in a league, another person went 1-4 in a league last night. So the universe does balance itself out. Seems like every deck had the perfect hand. They might have. You know, sometimes that sucks, especially when I go to a GP and I've been preparing for weeks for this event, and then all of a sudden I get like nut drawed by like all my opponents. Like, oh damn it, why in this event you have to do this? Because especially at a GP, you need to run good, and by running good, it means your opponent cannot have their nut hands. Yes, it also lets junk return Tarmogoyf. That's correct. We all know one person who doesn't like Tron. It's Willie Hall. Willie Paul, super 2 thumbs down on Tron. Hates Tron. Kyoka620 says, on Arena, I made the qualifiers for the ending rank of June, but there's no events for it in July. Does anyone have information? Good question. I do not, actually. I do not know anything. I'm not following the competitive scene on MTG Arena at all. So if I could help you, I would, but I do not. Kyo says, I can see LURRUS on the sideboard to help against burn-oriented matchups or removal, even in a blue-white shell, maybe. So I would not overestimate the life gain that you gain from LURRUS, because burn has so many removal spells. I think it is a lot more. Not only that, a lot of their removal spells are going to be like Searing Blaze and Searing Blood, which will target your LURRUS, kill it, and deal 3 damage to you. So the life gain is not guaranteed. So I would not lean on something like LURRUS as a sideboard card. I would make it as a main deck card. So you're either like making your deck to utilize LURRUS or you don't. But what I do like about main decking LURRUS, as was suggested before, is we get to keep our lords, right? We can keep our lord. Like we can play Mirror Regery if we want, and it won't affect our LURRUS, because and that was the big cost to playing LURRUS in Merfolk. If we play LURRUS, then we cannot play our more expensive lords, and I think Mirror Regery is one of the better lords right now, because we can tap down our blockers in order to get in damage. And traditionally, we use Spreading Seas to get in our damage, but Spreading Seas is very poorly positioned right now, so I think leaning harder on Regery is better. Cleverboy asks, what do you consider the minimum amount of games to have a good representation of your win rate? I think 100 would be okay. I think 100 games would be a decent. Whatever your recent 100 games are, that would be a good representation of your win rate. Whatever your last 200 games are, or sorry, matches, not games. Whatever your last 200 matches are, that's a great representation of your win rate. And I know it sounds like a lot, but you need a lot. Like, you need to reach the long run. Everyone's gonna run really good in their like. I like just cringe at people who are like, oh, I'm like 80. I'm like I have a 75% win rate over my last 5 leagues. Yeah, okay. So is it going to last forever? So the deal is, like, if you go to the long run, we're going to see a much more accurate representation of what your win rate is, because anyone can run well over a short period of time, and then everyone can brag about those win rates. But what's your win rate when you're running bad? What's your win rate when you got a mulligan all the time? What's your win rate when your opponent always draws their really harsh sideboard cards? And you have to account for that as well. That is part of your true win rate. So I would say 100 is a pretty good indication, and the last 200 is your best. And I sort of like to go with whatever the last X number of matches are to discuss your win rate, because certainly you can improve as a player over time, and I don't think you should be punished by all your losses very early on in your Magic career So I think there should be some room for people to just account not for your entire history, but just to account for your last X number of matches between 100 or 200 to reflect your win rate. So that, like, if you're a learning player in the beginning and your win rate is like, even less than 50%, eventually that can wash away. Because I don't think it should hold you back for forever. That doesn't, what your win rate was 3 years ago should not be what your win rate is today. And same thing, it goes the other way around. If you're a great player 3 years ago, I don't know if it should be reflected in how good of a player you are today. Great question, though. Great question. Liliana's starting to look like a none of. I imagine there are some situations for Liliana, but I imagine Liliana is still like a, at least a sideboard card, but Liliana has gotten a lot weaker over the years. Bloodbraid Elf gets gradually worse when you play cards like Spellbomb or Bauble. Bloodbraid Elf shines when it brings in a Goyf, Liliana the Veil, or Wrenn and 6. A 4 mana for a Bloodbraid Elf plus Spellbomb is not so great value. Maybe that's why they're playing less and abusing LURRUS more. Honestly, I think Liliana into Goyf is also not good value. I think that's crap as well. I just don't like Liliana the Veil. It's very expensive, and, how can I put it? Given you may not need another creature like late in the game, and it's just so random what the hell you're going to get. And you can like get Thoughtseize or Inquisition of Kozilek, and of course, because Bloodbraid Elf is a 4 mana card, that could be like really bad in the moment. It's just a bit too random. You could play Bloodbraid Elf into a removal spell, and there's like nothing on the board to kill. So I think there's a lot of inconsistency with Bloodbraid Elf. You're paying 4 mana for a 3 power haste creature, and then maybe you'll get a good creature. Maybe you'll get a good card attached to it. So sometimes it'll be great, and then sometimes it's just going to be, and then a lot of the time it's going to be miserable. Brian Jin, Nikachu, what do you think of the state of Stony Silence as a sideboard card? It used to be a staple, but with decks like Affinity dying, I rarely see it nowadays. So we don't have too many artifact-centric decks anymore, but we still have something. I think Stony Silence could be played today. I don't think there's anything particularly bad about it. Like, we still have those Urza decks. We still have Tron, Eldrazi Tron, and actually there's even more things in Eldrazi Tron that can get nailed by the Stony Silence. Like, they're now playing that new artifact that scries the top of their deck. So they've got that. You can shut off an Expedition map by turn 2, which would be big game against Eldrazi Tron. You can also hit their Walking Ballista, their Skyship Sovereign. So I think Stony Silence could have a position in the sideboard, but it just comes down to a deck playing Stony Silence. Do you have any other way of beating the decks that you're beating? I think that's what it's going to come down to. Because like decks like Eldrazi Tron, they're powerful, but they're still slow. And maybe if you're fast enough, or you've got the answers in time, you can beat them anyway. But I think Stony Silence is reasonably positioned right now. Reasonably positioned. Not great, but it's okay. Betamax asks, if JUND is making a resurgence, then should we go back to 3Cs in the main? I don't know if we need 3Cs in the main, but, I'm thinking more and more that we want spreading Cs. I'm getting tired of Eldrazi Tron getting to Tron so easily. I don't know what, they always have Tron against me now. Just constantly. This is really pissing me off. So maybe I want more spreading Cs to deal with the Eldrazi Tron deck, in addition to other decks like JUND, which we might need like more Island Walk in order to get in our damage. So it's possible. Although I really still don't think that this is like the best route for mana screwing any particular deck because of Wrenn and 6. Wrenn and 6 makes it very difficult to mana screw any deck because they can just bring fetch lands back from their graveyard like no problem. Nombo MTG says it has been great watching you live stream. I've been following since I started playing Magic in 2016. I credit your lists and videos for my 2 SCG classic top 16s. Keep up the great work. Thank you very much, Nombo MTG. Love the what's it called? The what testimonial? That's what I was thinking of. The testimonial. Hello, Druid Nico. Good morning. A ban creeping chill. That's right. Good morning, J.K. Torborg. It rained again, so landscaping late today. I submitted a Sultai Adventure deck your way recently and revised per your advice, playtesting it. I've been crushing control since then. Aggro is slightly worse, but still winnable. Care to take a look? I can't take a look right now. We're in Q&A mode, but please submit it when we call for the deck lists. So, but I really this was already a list we looked at, the Sultai Adventure Shift. And since we gave the advice, now crushing control. That's excellent. That's excellent. We got feedback. The deck list reviews work. They actually work. Who knows? I thought maybe I was sending people to hell. I'm actually sending people to heaven. That's great. So submit it again during the deck list review. I don't think banning Creeping Chill is the right choice. Banning Creeping Chill would also kill Silver Smoke Ghoul. I think banning Ox of Agonis is a safer option. I disagree because Ox of Igonus means nothing to Dredge. Dredge was already super powerful before Ox of Igonus. Ox of Igonus is only a splash. It's like, it means nothing to the deck. If you ban Ox of Igonus, you actually don't power down Dredge at all. Nothing changes. It's like like a little bit of a sweetener to the archetype, but is just entirely meaningless. Yeah, you might ban Silver Smoke Ghoul, but then that's going to be a good thing. That is going to be a very good thing. They should work harder for that. They shouldn't have to work so like Creeping Chill shouldn't be doing all the heavy lifting. Some other deck should be utilizing Silver Smoke Ghoul, not Dredge. So and if Silver Smoke Ghoul is taking Dredge over the top, then we need to deal with it. Deal with it appropriately. And Ox of Igonus won't do anything. So if you're gonna ban anything, you have to ban something that's actually gonna make a difference. I would ban Creeping Chill. I would still ban Creeping Chill. Ox is not a very big card in the deck at all. They can live without it easily. Yeah, Creeping Chill represents a free 24-point life swing. It is a terrible design card. Well, like, the card is probably fair. The problem is Dredge as a mechanic. That is a very badly designed mechanic. So Creeping Chill itself is fine. Technically, the Dredge mechanic is what's like making it OP. Under any other circumstance, Creeping Chill is like a bulk whatever. Or I wouldn't say that, like, but there are other decks like those like Vengevine, Merfolk Secret Keeper decks. What's it called? I don't want to call it Dredgeless Dredge or Hogackless Hogak, but those decks could also use Creeping Chill, but it's much harder to get a really good consistent advantage out of it. Nikachu is doing questions. Yes, I'm doing questions for the first half. So bring me your questions. Then we get to deck list review. We will do the deck list review. Don't worry. Burn people have tested Incinerator. It slaps. It's interesting. I haven't seen the Incinerator yet. Maybe I'm just lucky. Good morning, Dexter Johnson. Morning to the stream team. Absolutely. I tested Incinerator, and when left on the battlefield, it's definitely GG. How about Dimir Merfolk with black mostly for Dismember mana, LURRUS in the main, and Plague Engineer in the sideboard to stick it to goblins and humans? It's possible. It's possible. Like, it all takes playtesting, but it's possible. Once you have black mana, I'm not really keen on Dismember. Yeah, it's possible that you like, what's it called? Fatal Push is just good enough for most of the time. But keep in mind, there are some things you can't kill, like Gurmag Angler, but maybe now we just don't care. We just need the right amount of threat density of like fetch lands, and then we'll be good. Ancorian Hero. I'm currently running 2 Reejerey and 2 Coral Helm Commander. Do you think it would be better to go full at 4 Reejerey in my mono blue deck? Yes. I think Coral Helm Commander is still reasonably good right now, especially against all these stupid JUND decks, because you want something that can pump itself up by itself and then, fly over Plague Engineers and stuff and also protect the rest of your team. Oops. But Reejerey, I think, is just better. Reejerey is just a lord immediately and can help tap things down very quickly. I would go with the Reejerey. I would go with full 4 Reejerey. Mikey J does not approve. Does not approve with the salute emotes. Kyle Nano, Nikachu, could you talk about some of the threats to Eldrazi at the moment? I'm new to Modern from EDH. I'm looking to buy into the deck, and I'm curious about some of the things to watch out for. I don't think you have to watch out for too much. I mean, the thing about Eldrazi is it's got game against everything, and it's a very strong proactive deck. So I don't actually think there are very big threats to Eldrazi at the moment. Like, no one's playing Ceremonious Rejection, which is a counterspell for 1 blue, or very few people are doing something like that. Field of Ruin is just like an all-around catch card, but is not really that effective. Blood Moon is okay, but it's not great because they can always Expedition Map fetch out their 1 wastes. Then there's like Damping Sphere. Like, for the most part, you don't have a whole lot of stuff to worry about. You're basically beating everything. If anyone else has some comments on like what Eldrazi should be fearful of right now, I mean, your big threats are just like decks that go way over the top of you, like Titan Ramp decks or Titan Ramp decks. I think regular Tron beats Eldrazi because they're just a similar thing, but they're just a control deck. What else? So like other big mana decks beat Eldrazi basically is the only thing you have to worry about. So Amulet, Titan Ramp, probably Scape Shift if it was around, and regular Tron. Oh, Brian, yes, I would appreciate if everyone starts and ends their questions with the question marks, or you can @ me at Nikachu MTG. That would help as well. Otherwise, like, there's a lot of comments, and I have to just I don't want to read everything to get to like the questions. So that would help me a lot. See, I only saw this because of the triple question mark thing. It just gets my eyes on your questions. So that's I would appreciate if you start and end your questions like that. Or at Nikachu MTG. Just like what Kyle Nano did here. Started and ended the questions with the question marks. Some comments like catch my eye, but for the most part... Nikachu News trademark. Is it shelved for now? I miss those massive overreactions. I just don't have as much time for Nikachu News as I used to. I meant to make like a companion one, but I just never ended up getting around to it. I would just say it's not gone. It's not gone. I'm just not doing them nearly as often. Would Elf Tribal work if they play Nylia's Presence and Elvish Champion to get unblockable? I don't even know what these are. Nylia's Presence. Green of colors, enchant land, enters the battlefield, draw a card. Enchanted land is every basic land type in addition to its other types. And Elvish Champion is to get Forest Walk. I don't think this is reliable. I think you only have one of these Forest Walk cards. I mean, it's possible. It's possible. Do you get to draw a card with this other one? Is this like Spreading Seas? Enchanted land, enters the battlefield, draw a card. It's the opposite of Spreading Seas. You actually help your opponent gain all mana in addition to its like land type. It's possible. I mean, maybe this is possible. The only problem is that this only helps you in combat. It doesn't actually help you in any other way. All it does is it can only help your opponent's land. It doesn't hurt them. But I would say like the combo is probably not good. Intuitively, I would think it doesn't work. Have you had some changes to your budget, poor folk? Thanks. Not yet. Not I revisit my budget deck once in a while, and when I do, I'll see what new cheap stuff I can add to it. But so far, deck is pretty good. And someone went 5-0. I don't know if it was with my budget list, but it looked very similar to my online budget list in a preliminary. So it actually is pretty competitive. Like, you can still, if you play with the budget list online, it's about $100. You can win preliminaries. You can go 5-0 in them. Hello, Nikachu. What do you think about Uro in Modern? Will it be banned? I don't think it's going to be well, first off, anything can get banned. I will just say that up front. Like anything can get banned. You know, if the community hates it enough, Wizards will ban it. Or if they find any good reason, enough of a reason they will ban it. I don't think Uro is played in enough decks though that it will get banned. It's only played in, if I just know correctly, it's played in Sultai, Snow, and Bant Snow, and then that's it. I think that's a good range of deck. That's a very small range of decks playing Uro, and that does not meet the requirement of it getting banned. I think a lot of people are complaining about Uro today, like they used to complain about Thought Knot Seer, like when Thought Knot Seer got printed. Like, what format? Like any generic mana for this card that has this ETB effect that you cannot do anything about? Why don't they unban like Bloodbraid Elf? Blah blah blah. So Thought Knot Seer received a lot of criticism back in the day. And not to mention you could get it out on turn 2 with double Eldrazi Temple. And I think Uro is maybe in the same boat. Strong card, absolutely. Could it get banned? It's possible, but I don't think it's going to get banned anytime soon. I don't think it's on the same level as Oko by any means. At least not in Modern. It might get banned in other formats. Two overall thoughts on the Modern meta right now. I think it's fair. For the most part, I think it's okay. I think there's more Eldrazi-tron that I would like to see. Like Eldrazi-tron is everywhere. It frustrates the hell out of me because I don't really have my win rate is like slowly sliding against Eldrazi-tron as I'm trying to build my deck to beat other decks. And it's possible I'm just gonna have to say, you know what, screw it. I got to accommodate some sideboard cards for this Eldrazi-tron bullshit. But overall, I think like Modern is a playable format right now. I have nothing against it. I'm a little terrified. I'm a little paranoid of that LURRUS is going to go over the top. I'm a little paranoid of that. Okay, so okay, we have reached the halfway point with the Q&As. Thanks for all the questions, and it's time for the deck list review. So now, if you have any deck lists, this is the time to submit them. And we can go check out some sweet deck lists. And if you are just joining us, thank you everyone for joining me today. We're Coffee and MTG, where we ask and answer questions and we review deck lists. And apparently, we already got a testimonial. We helped. They were having trouble against Control. Now they're beating Control. That's what happens when you get your deck list reviewed on this channel. Oops. Let's see. Okay, so with that, I'm going to take a delicious sip of my coffee. Okay, so where is the first deck list? I'm going to look for the deck lists. Okay, Athenback. Merfolk is my main deck, of course, but trying to make a competitive cat list in Modern is my hobby right now. The deck is sweet as it destroys burn with lifelink and creatures that come back from the graveyard, and they can get big faster than humans. That is interesting. That is very interesting, Athenback. So let's go check out your sweet list. Selesnya Cats. Here, kitty, kitty, kitty. All right, so we've got the Companion, which is basically free because each other creature you control the Companion has to be each creature card in your starting deck is a cat, elemental, nightmare, dinosaur, or beast card. That's like a very bizarre combination. Why dinosaur? I understand, like, actually, none of these have anything to do with each other. A nightmare, an elemental, a cat and beast are like the closest comparisons, whatever. But we've got a lot of weird numbers here. 2 Loam Lion, 3 Sacred Cat. I sort of like Sacred Cat because it's a 1/1 for 1 with lifelink, but it's got Embalm, so it can come back from the graveyard, so it's got some resistance there. And Loam Lion is basically a 2/3 creature for 1 mana. Decent. I would take that as a Merfolk player. I would love 1 mana 2/3 creature. Take it any day. This is what Kamina Speaker should have been. Adorned Pouncer, double strike. Very strict. Don't underestimate the double strike. Double strike is pretty damn strong. Fleece Mane Lion, Kasali Pride Mage, Brimaz, King of Oreskos, Feline Sovereign. So this is your lord. Other cats you control get +1/+1 and have protection from dogs. Whenever 1 or more cats you control deal combat damage to a player, destroy up to 1 target artifact or enchantment that player controls. Are you allowed to do this? Yeah, I guess it's a cat beast. You can have a one as a companion, one in the main deck. Why not? King of the Pride. Other cats you control get +2/+1. It's an amazing lord. LURRUS of the Dream Den. That's sick. That's a great idea. Just put LURRUS in the main deck. Who cares about the companion thing? LURRUS is just pretty damn good by pretty good by herself. Kasali Ambusher, 3-mana reach. If a creature is attacking you and you control a forest and plains, you may play Kasali Ambusher without paying its mana cost and as though it had flash. That's interesting. So basically we get this in play for 0 mana, right? That's very interesting. You know what? A friend of mine was asking about like a cat deck, and we talked about this card, and I brushed it off, thinking it's, you know, it's a 2/3 with reach. Who cares? But the fact that you can pay 0 mana for this, and of course, there's all sorts of decks that attack you. You know, we look at the prowess decks right now; they're attacking you almost immediately, and you can throw a bunch of these things out and get the counter attack. Maybe I'm underestimating this card by a lot. Maybe this thing should be in higher numbers. Leonin War Leader. When it attacks, create 2 1/1 white cat creature tokens with lifelink that are tapped and attacking, and Regal Caracal. So first off, I think we should have like a good early game. I don't know if you have enough things to do on the early. Okay, we have 4 Ether Vial, 3 Path to Exile, so this is 7, 10, 12. Okay, we have like enough things to do on the early game. Yes, Fleece. If you look at the 2-drops for the cats, they're just not enough. There's not a lot. So Fleece Mainline and Kasali Pride Mage are fine. I don't have much to say, except I think you should go all in on the Lords. You should have a 4th Feline Sovereign and probably get rid of one of these Leonin War Leaders. This is just a very clunky card. And I know this is also a Lord, but I think you get enough out of the 5 mana. Like +1/+1 and lifelink. Oh, and it comes with a few other creatures, so you can help stabilize against a lot of decks. Maybe Regal Caracal is worth it. If it isn't worth it, I would like up the number of Fleece main lines probably in this deck. 2 mana for a 3/3 creature. It's not very impressive, but if you get to 5 mana, you can get to monstrous, and I think that's okay. Otherwise, maybe more Kasali Pride Mages are better. Not to mention, there's a lot of artifacts enchantments right now in the metagame. I think the mana base is fine. Sunpetal Grove might have some trouble. 4/8. No, it's not going to have any problems. Okay, so you have enough Temple Gardens and stuff. 22 lands. That's a lot of lands. But I understand you want to get to the Regal Caracal. Because the alternative is you play with a few less lands. You don't have to play with a higher curve, and you can play some more cheaper 2-drops and stuff like that, but maybe they don't exist in this deck yet. 2 Chalice of the Void, 2 Deafening Silence, 2 Damping Sphere, 1 Leonin Arbiter. Is that worth it? You're not playing with. I don't think Leonin Arbiter is really worth it in this list. I wouldn't play this. There's other. If you don't want them to search their library, just play one of those 3 mana. What is one of those 3 mana cards that you can play? Oh, I forgot to edit my stream info. I'm always in the talk show thing. Let's get back to the Magic. So what's one of those 3 mana can't search your library cards? Help me out here, people. You could run Cocos if... That's not a bad suggestion. You could run Cocos if you take the top end off. So you take out the Regal Caracal, you take out the Leonin War Leader. Coco is a very reasonable card, even though you're playing with Ether Vial. Because the deck is still like super creature heavy. You go down to 27 creatures, it wouldn't be a big problem. Wouldn't be a problem at all. Even Mind Sensor, yeah. So I think if you're... If an opponent would search their library, that person either searches the top 4 cards of the library instead. Usually, I don't know what you're using this against, but I just don't think it's worth the sideboard slots. I think Torpor Orb is great. Rest in Peace is great. Oh, this is where your last Feline Sovereign is. I'd have this in the main deck. Like, this is not a sideboard card. So I put this in the main deck, take out the Leonin Arbiter. I think the rest, each player can't cast spell that more than 1 creature spell each turn. That's fine. That's fine. That's like anti-storm tech. I like it. It's not bad. So Deafening Silence is fine. So you have to take out the Leonin Arbiter, a Feline Sovereign, put in something else. I'm not sure what that something else is. And you put this Feline Sovereign in the main deck, and I would just take out the Leonin War Leaders. I think for 4 mana, this is just too much. It's just not enough. Like 4/4 creature. It needs to attack to put more stuff on the battlefield. That's just not it. Oh, Mind Sensor doesn't work with Kahira as a companion. Well, okay, I see what you mean. So there is some... But Leonin Arbiter doesn't really work either. Or maybe it works better than I think. Okay, how about this? If you're playing a Leonin Arbiter, play a second one. But I think Leonin Arbiter is going to work if you can be super aggro. And maybe you can. Maybe you can be super aggro. Okay, maybe you can play, like, I don't know, take out the Fiat. I was about to say take out the Leonin Arbiter. Maybe just play a second one. The one Leonin Arbiter just looks really out of place to me. Just really out of place. In my definition, a one of is a none of. You know, that's how I live with Magic. There are deck lists that you can play one ofs, but I don't think this is one of them. I would love to see this in the main deck. There's like this card has no business in the sideboard. This is a main deck card. This helps push damage overall against all archetypes. So maybe remove this, add another Leonin Arbiter, and hope that you're fast enough. Because Leonin Arbiter is only going to work if you can like race a Titan deck from getting the 2 extra mana to put a Titan in play, and then search their deck for more lands. And then after that, you're like toast. So this is only buying you a little bit of time, but it's not but does have synergy. You know, you get pumped up by the King of the Pride and so on. So hey, it's possible. Anyway, those are the only suggestions I have. I don't have any like metagame specific suggestions because I've never played with specifically this type of deck. But good luck to you with it. Good luck. Interesting deck. Cat Tribal is on the rise. Cat Tribal. Thanks for the suggestion. JK Torborg, have to head out soon. I've rethought that Adventure Shift list with great success. Let's check it out. So this is the new and improved Adventure Shift list. Oops. No, I clicked on a random ad. All the cookies are going to destroy me. Let's see how different this is. So we got the Breeding Pool. I'm going to assume the mana base is fine. Wishclaw Talisman. So this is the... Oh, okay. So this was the deck that combos out of nowhere. But we can have a potential beatdown strategy. So we got 4 Hypnotic Sprite, 4 Lovestruck Beast, 2 Murderous Rider, 2 Nimble Obstructionist, which is going to help against those control decks, in my opinion. Shriekmaw, 1 Thassa's Oracle, 3 Vendilion Click. So we see this deck is like really a lot more consistent. Counter target instant. So we have the spell shift, counter target instant or sorcery spell. Its controller reveals cards from the top of his or her library until they reveal an instant or sorcery. That player may play that card without paying its mana cost. Then they find the Primal Surge, exile the top card of your library. If it's a permanent card, you may put onto the battlefield. If you do, repeat this process. Whole deck is permanents, and they win with Jace, Wielder of Mysteries, because if there's... well, whatever. The deck has nothing in it, and then you just draw a card and you win. So sweet. Okay, so this deck actually is now beating control, and it's moving in the right direction. Defense grid is great. So Hornet's Nest moved to the sideboard because this is like Hornet's Nest is like just a really janky card. I have nothing too much against this card, but it just doesn't belong in the main deck. You need to have a proactive game one, and then if you're up against prowess decks and stuff like that, bring in the Hornet's Nest. If you need to be more defensive, bring in the Hornet's Nest. But by default, you don't always need to be defensive. You want to be proactive. You want your game or like your plan A is beat them down with this shit. Beat them down with Hypnotic Sprites, with the Brazen Borrowers, with the Lovestruck Beast, with the Murderous Riders. And then as they tap out to deal with all this stuff, then you spell shift them and kill them. Awesome. I'm glad to hear that the adjustments worked out and the list looks really clean and really nice. And I would say just from here on out, you can adjust your sideboard for the decks that are giving you problems. Like I have no strong opinions about any of these cards. I don't know what the hell the Spreading Seas is for, so maybe I have a strong opinion about this. Maybe this can be like Torpor Orb or something. But not Torpor Orb. Names escape me. All these 2-mana artifacts are giving me a hard time. What am I thinking about, chat? The anti-Tron card. Damping Sphere. Maybe this should be Damping Sphere instead. Do we have Damping Sphere in here? We do not. But whatever. Okay. Main deck looks super clean. Super clean. Love the main deck. Looks great. Good luck with it in the future. Awesome. I'm glad to hear that our feedback actually made a difference. Hesperosm. All right. Hesperosm has been waiting to submit their deck list. Actually, it's probably Hesperos Mariposa. I recognize the name. We got a lot of deck lists being asked to be reviewed. How much time do we have? All right, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Control plus. What is this? Oh, this is this commander? I'm sorry, I don't really have much opinion to say about a commander lists. What is this? Joda, Archmage of Eternal? Like, this would take me too long to go through the whole list card by card. I think a better group to ask about your commander deck would be something like the Spike Feeders, because I'm not a commander player. I cannot tell. Like, I couldn't tell you if Omni Spell Adapt is any good in the field of commander. And I've like no experience with these sort of multicolor decks. This is like way outside my wheelhouse. Hespero, sorry about that. I'm gonna have to take a pass on this particular list. It's in a format that I'm nothing in, and also I can't evaluate this sort of deck. Sorry about that. Sorry, I would prefer we stick to modern. This is my wheelhouse, or even historic. I'm fine with historic as well. Druid Nico, all right. Let's go check out your list, Druid Nico. What's going on here? Ta-da! Okay, what kind of deck do we have here? Some Eladrimri's Call deck. 4 Birds of Paradise, Deputy of Detention, Devote. Okay, so we have some sort of devoted Counters Company deck, Eternal Witness, 1 Duskwatch Recruiter, 2 Gilded Goose, 3 Giver of Runes, 1 Ranger Captain of Eos, Shalai Voice of Plenty, the Vizier, 1 Walking Ballista, Eladrimri's Call. So you're deciding to splash a little blue so that you can play things like Teferi, which is fine. Postmortem Lunge, 3 Neoform. I guess this is just another way of digging into, like, I guess what you can do is can you sack birds? Search your library for a creature card with converted mana cost equal to 1 plus the sacrificed creature's converted mana cost. Put that onto the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter. Okay. So you're playing Counters Company, splashing blue for Neoform and Teferi Time Raveler. I can get behind that. And you have 1-ofs in this list because like, why do you need more than 1 when you're just going to dig them out anyway? And if they die somehow, you can always Postmortem Lunge them back to the battlefield. Return target creature card with converted mana cost X from your graveyard to the battlefield. It gains haste. Exile it at the beginning of the next end step. Burrington Forge Tender, Collector Oof, 1 Core Firewalker. Maybe you want one more of these. Like, your mana base, I think, can handle it. And there's like, I think red is like a reasonable enemy of yours. Mirren Crusader, Mystical Dispute. And you also get access to Mystical Dispute. Path to Exile, Spell Pierce. Now, Spell Pierce, I'm not sure about. Because Spell Pierce, like, most people just use Mystical Dispute. What do you use Spell Pierce for? Spell Pierce is just getting increasingly more awkward and just bad. Because, like, decks just have way too much mana these days for Spell Pierce to be effective. Like, even look at your deck. You're an infinite mana deck, right? Right? I imagine 4 lunch has been essential lately. So Druid Nico, I might want to replace this with something else. Like almost no one is playing with Spell Pierce. Like no one. It's just a bad card right now. Just doesn't hit. Like, for example, what's it called? For example, like most of the metagame these days is just focused around like creatures. It's like creatures everything. Maybe drop Pierce for another Ballista. That's possible. I don't really have a whole lot to say about the list. I would still compare it to the core pieces of, say, like another particular list. Like, what's Laplacian doing? MTG Goldfish. So here's like the Devoted Devastation Master. So if he says, you know, let's play with 2 Walking Ballista, 4 Birds of Paradise, 4 Giver of Runes. Now it's a little bit different. He's not running things like Neoform, so he's got to run like extra copies of Duskwatch Recruiter. But he's on 4 Aladimri's Call, 4 Finale of Devastation. What you could do is, like, Aladimri's Call says, search your library for a creature card, reveal that card, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. Do you have any combo pieces in your sideboard? Oh, I see. You have 1 core Firewalker because you just want to search it out. Okay, that's okay. But maybe you want the 4th one. I think Tuxdev just said... Oh, he says... okay, Tuxdev says 4 call is essential. I might agree with that. If you have these sideboard cards, if you have these toolbox cards like core Firewalker, 1 Collector Oof, 1 Mirren Crusader, probably these Spell Pierces should be more targets for your Aladimri's Call. So you should... I agree. Let's go to 4 of Aladimri's Call. I'm not sure what to take out. Maybe 1... Maybe a Ranger? No, maybe not. Because you can still search that with Neoform. Maybe 1 Teferi. I don't know. I don't know how necessary Teferi Time Raveler is in this deck. But we should squeeze in an Aladimri's Call somewhere. And then put more combo pieces in the sideboard. I'm curious. Does he have... He has 4 Devoted Druid, 4 Vizier of Remedies. Okay, he's all in on the creatures in the main deck. Not using anything in the sideboard, but... Squat Chief's like, maybe want to play a different deck. You know what? Some people don't want to play a different deck, Squat Chief. Some people just want to play the deck that they want to play. So we do our best. So anyway, that would be only my suggestions. Take out the Spell Pierces, add more creatures, or whatever. I'm not sure what this is for, but whatever it's for, change it to some other counter spell that's more high impact, or a blue or a green card that's more high impact against those cards. I don't think Spell Pierce is going to be worth it. If you're trying to fight a counter war, you know, Veil of Summer is there for you, and you got it. So anyway, thank you very much for the submission. Bant Devoted Devastation. Kyoka says, not my deck list, but what do you think of this deck that keeps popping up as mono red Maggie? It piques my interest. Let's go check it out. Oh, Mr. Vyan subscribed with Amazon Prime. Where is that? Gonna give... Mr. Yan, subscribe. Thank you very much, Mr. Yan. Thank you. Thank you for the subscription. Thank you for joining the great wave that I am making on this channel. Thank you very much. All right, so where was I? Okay, we're on Kyoka's list. Let's go look up Kyoka. Found it. Okay, what is this? Just burn? 2 Grim Lavamancer, Swift Spear, Vexing Devil. I actually think this card sucks. This card is not good. 3 Eidolon of the Great Revel, 4 Chandra's Incinerator. So is that the deal? You play your Vexing Devil on turn 2, and then if they Whenever a source you control deals non-combat damage to an opponent, Chandra's Incinerator deals that much damage to target creature or planeswalker that... Sorry. Cost X less to cast. Oops. Cost X less to cast, where X is the total amount of non-combat damage dealt to your opponent this turn. So this only reduces it by 4, so you still can't get this thing out on turn 2 unless you had the help of Seal of Fire. So Incinerator has some potential, but I'm not... I think Vexing Devil is a pile of shit, basically. Is this a budget deck? Because we're not running, like, Horizon lands. That doesn't make any sense either. Smash to Smithereens, Skullcrack, Shrine of the Burning Rage, Searing Blood, Dragon's Claw, Soul Guide Lantern. Probably could use another Dragon's Claw. Like, Prowess decks are out there. Even blue-red Prowess blue-red Prowess decks are out there, and I think you could utilize a second Dragon's Claw somewhere in this deck. Unless they really need all these other cards, which they might. Definitely play with the Horizon lands. Definitely do not play with Vexing Devil. It will never do what you want it to do. That's the problem with Vexing Devil. It will never do what you want it to do. It will perpetually... Here, let's see this Vexing Devil. When Vexing Devil enters the battlefield, any opponent may have it deal 4 damage to them if a player does sacrifice Vexing Devil. So this is what happens. As the opponent, I'll be like, well, I think this is going to deal like 8 damage or more to me, so I'm going to take the 4 damage. Or I'd be like, do you know what? I have a removal spell in hand. I have a Lightning Bolt, or a Fatal Push, or a Path to Exile or something. I'm not going to take any damage, and then I'm just going to kill it. And people defending against burn want that exchange. They would love to turn any one of their cards to protect their life total, if they can. It's a huge win. It's like basically a counter spell. It turns their Fatal Pushes into counter spells. So I would definitely... This is why you don't see this card in burn, because it sucks. It just doesn't work. It doesn't do what you want it to do. Whenever you give the opponent the choice, your opponent will always choose what is beneficial to them, not for you. You'll never corner them into making the wrong decision with Vexing Devil. So I'm like 2 thumbs down on this, and I'm assuming that this list is... This was from a Modern League by Equities. I think, like, whatever. It got a 5-0, but I don't think... Chandra's Incinerator might have been a good call in this deck, but I don't think Vexing Devil is, and I think this list looks budget because they're running Mountains instead of any Horizon lands. I don't think there's any reason to do that. And as you see, like, the deck is just relatively cheap. Was probably within their budget to buy. But it's just burn. Burn is burn. Can you play Chandra's Incinerator? Maybe. We're going to see. I don't think this is the list, but maybe. All right, let's grind through a few more. Let's help some people. Hey, by the way, if you're watching this on the replay, don't forget to give a like to wonderful Magic discussion. If you like the reviews, and also if you like sending your deck list for review, don't forget to give a like. I hope everyone is enjoying the show so far. I've been working on this Aristocrat Return to the Ranks list for a while. What do you think? You're not the first person to send an Aristocrats deck here, that's for sure. Oh, did I miss one? KSV sent something. Hold on. Okay, we're going to get to... I'll try to get to everybody. Or I'm not going to try to get to everybody. I don't have time for everybody, but this looks like the tokens deck that I lost to. Just a little while ago. Okay, we got 3 Stoneforge Mystic, 4 Tide Hollow Scholar, 1 Elspeth Sun's Nemesis, very good card. Sorum, Solemn Visitor, also a relatively good card, especially in a tokens deck. Fatal Push, Inquisition of Kozilek, 3 Path to Exile, 3 Thoughtseize, 4 Lingering Souls, 4 Spectral Procession, 1 Sword of Feast of Famine, a Batterskull, 3 Bitter Blossom. Cling to Dust, Stony Silence Sundering. Okay, so what... One card, so whatever. List is sort of normal that we've seen over like the years of tokens. But I think a card that really impressed me when I was up against them was Kaya's Guile. Like, this card really impressed me and I think should be in the list. I don't know how many copies, but each opponent sacrifices a creature. So if your opponent has this enormous Death Shadow out, they have to sacrifice that. And by the way, you get to choose 2. Exile all cards from each opponent's graveyard. So that's main deck graveyard hate against Dredge. And by the way, even by turn 3 on the play, this is still going to be useful. So it's graveyard hate against a lot of decks, which include like Blue White Control, mind you. Also, there's create a 1/1 white and black spirit creature token. So if you need like a random creature on the battlefield, that's good. And also you gain life. So like that is damn strong as well. Because when you gain life, you're gonna completely undermine decks like Burn. And also has this entwine thing. So if you choose, you can choose all of them if you pay the 3. I think Kaya's Guile is exactly what the tokens deck wants, and might be way better than say something like Spectral Procession, which like, okay, it's fine, but like I honestly don't know exactly what you want to take out for this Kaya's Guile. But it's got to be something. Kaya's Guile is just look way too good. What's in your sideboard? You have Kaya's Guile. You got 2 Kaya's Guile. Get these things in the main deck, in my opinion. I think it's worth being in the main. I think it's a hate card against everything. I don't know what deck this isn't good against. Not a huge fan of Bitter Blossom, but the thing is with Kaya's Guile, and that's another thing with Kaya's Guile. Like Bitter Blossom will kill you very often. There's a lot of decks that are just going to kill you because you're Bitter Blossom. It just deals life points to yourself. Gaining 4 life helps compensate for what the Bitter Blossom has hurt you on. Cling to Dust, love the card. That's a new great addition to the tokens deck. Surgical Extraction is fine. Stony Silence is like okay. Sundering Growth, destroy target artifact or creature, artifact or enchantment, then populate. I guess that's okay. Like you can put a token on the battlefield that's a copy of a creature token you control. Ashiok is great. Fulminator Mage is great. Plague Engineer is fantastic. So I don't know where you make room in the main deck for this thing. Honestly, like the deck is mostly balanced. I have nothing against this list. If you wanted to play it as it is, great. If well, and one cool thing about Stoneforge Mystic is you've got evasion in the form of Lingering Souls, the Spectral Procession, so you can put the Batter Skulls and the Swords on your souls and on the Bitter Blossom. So I don't know what to take out. That might come down to experience. If there is nothing to take out, I actually think the list is good. I think you have a solid list here. Very, very solid list. Strong, solid list. Shambling Vent, Urborg. Solid list. Thanks for sharing. I just think this card is underrated. I was really impressed with this card when it was played against me, and when I read the text, this thing's good against everything. Everything. And you get a creature if you want. I think it's awesome. It's really cool. Thanks for sharing. Tokens. With a little bit of innovation and a lot of new cards coming out, maybe it's going to become a thing. Brian Jin says, I've been working on this Aristocrats list. All right, Return to the Ranks. Everyone wants to make Return to the Ranks work. But there's a big problem with Return to the Ranks. Everyone is hating. Does anyone else have any questions? Loves looking at... Nikachu loves looking at other people's decks. That's right. Show me all the decks. Oh, Bounty 1717 subscribe. Thank you very much, Bounty. Thank you. Ta-da! Thank you very much. Thanks for joining the wave. Thank you for enjoying my wonderful commentary. Okay, so let's look at the Aristocrats deck. Because good morning, Grateful Mike. Oh, not found. Oh, what happened? Whoops. Well, you can't see it. Sorry, your link doesn't work. Maybe it's private? Sorry about that. You have to submit it another day. Okay, so we'll go to the next person. Sorry about that, Brian Jin. My deck list is a Rakdos. Okay, so we've got from K-Bert, my deck list is a Rakdos discard style for Pioneer. Have been having some success and wonder if you think it is any good. Let's go check it out. Rakdos, Blood Crypt, Castle, Dragon Skull Summit, Fabled Passage, 2 Field of Ruin. So this is Pioneer. Okay, we got Davriel, Rogue Shadow Mage. Okay, hey, if any deck can play like these 3-mana planeswalkers, I mean that would be great. At the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, if that player has one or fewer cards in hand, Davriel Rogue Shadow Mage deals 2 damage to them, and you can make them discard cards. So this is like, you know, it's like a rack deck basically. And Liliana, Waker of the Dead, beautiful art. Each player discards a card. Each opponent who can't loses 3 life. Plus ability, I like it. I like it a lot, actually. Target creature gets -X until end of turn, where X is the number of cards in your graveyard. I like that because that's probably like usually a hard removal spell. So 4 mana, you at least kill something. It's like Chandra almost. And then the plus ability always, well, I wouldn't say always gets value, but forces the opponent to always have an empty hand. And you have perfect information. -7, I'm sure the emblem is useless. At the beginning of combat on your turn, put target creature card. Who cares? So you got eliminate, destroy target creature or planeswalker with converted mana cost 3 or less. Erebos' Intervention. You might want to go to 4 on this one. Like, this is a very strong card. You know, this is like kill Teferi, kill basic almost everything. And you can't kill Inverter of Truth, but they're like most of the metagame is like 3 mana or less. Erebos' Intervention. Choose one. Target creature gets -X until end of turn. You gain X life. Exile up to twice X target cards from graveyards. I don't really understand this card, why people want to play it. What's going on with this card? Oh, Brian, if you fix it, I'll go back. But what's up with Erebos' Intervention? I don't know about this card. And I'm seeing everyone wants to play a one of it. Oh, I got to play this one of this target, like whatever. It's like a fatal push almost. Maybe it kills gods. I don't know. I guess that is a one way of getting rid of what Heliod, actual Heliod, but eliminate kills Walking Ballista, but it might be too late. So fatal push, Kolaghan's Command. That's fine. Hazaret, love it. Croxa, love it. This will work really well with your Davriel. And Murderous Rider, love it. Collective Brutality, strong card. Strange is a one of. So hold on. So is there like other copies of Erebos' Intervention in the sideboard? No. I'm gonna repeat it. One ofs or none ofs. So like here, I'm gonna put everyone to the test. When you have like one collective brutality in the main deck, but you have a second one in the sideboard, that's because hey, maybe you didn't have you don't have enough room in the main deck, or you don't have enough space in your sideboard for all the cards that you want, so you put something in the main deck. I don't know what exactly. Maybe this in combination with other cards are good against gods. Is there another god card? Destroy any number of target planeswalkers. But the point is, like, I'm always in the camp of if it's a one of, it's a none of. If you're a deck that cannot like use spells from the graveyard, or you don't tutor or anything, like there's certainly room for one ofs in decks in certain builds. But I don't think this is one of them. So I don't know what exactly this is for. But overall, I think this list is very clean, very solid. If you have good results, like I don't have anything really to add to here. I mean, here's your combo card, right? Name an online card, search target player's graveyard, hand, and library for any number of cards with that name and exile them. If you don't have a good enough, what is this? Exile target creature an opponent controls, convert mana cost 2 or less, and all other creatures. I'm just trying to see if you don't have enough game against the inverter deck. I might play more of these cards, even though it's pretty clunky. But aside from that, I think list is very, very strong. Very, very strong. I really like this list. I think it's really cool. This is very innovative. And I think the list is very clean. I think for the most part, your numbers are correct. Because you know it. And Hazaret is like a really good finisher. You're just basically telling both sides, hey, we're gonna go down on cards till it's nothing. So the link. So anyway, thank you very much for sharing the list. I hope if you're doing well with it, I know why, because I think you built a really good deck. I think the deck looks good. And if you don't know where your weaknesses are, just keep going with it. I think the list looks strong. If it's working, just keep going. All right, so we only have time for one more. We're gonna go back to Brian Jin, the Aristocrats deck. All right. The link works this time. Blood Artist. Whenever Blood Artist or another creature dies, target player loses 1 life and you gain a life. Carrion Feeder. Oh, that's a good idea. I never thought about playing Carrion Feeder into the Aristocrats deck. So you have like a little bit of a different game plan as well. You have like a, well, I mean, it's a sack outlet. I understand that, but like you have you can create a giant creature out of this. Like in the past, it was things like Cruel Celebrant, where you just sack the creature and the opponent loses a life, you gain life, you know, whatever. Whenever this dies, you put a spirit onto the battlefield. Hangerback Walker, interesting. So you can make a big Hangerback Walker, sacrifice to get all the Thopters out. Hunted Witness, whenever it dies, create a 1/1 white creature, soldier creature token with lifelink. Ranger of Eos. Ranger Captain Eos. Great. This is a great idea. So you got a decent 3/3 creature that can prevent your opponent from playing non-creature spells on a particular turn. But also, so like upkeep, sacrifice it against Storm. You can't Storm off against me because you can't flashback Past in Flames at instant speed. And then you got like, what's it called? And then you can dig for whatever these 1-mana creatures that you want. Carrion Feeder, Doom Traveler, you know, get value, basically. You get value. Tide Hollow Sculler, Zealoport, Cutthroat. Well, what do these do? Whenever Cutthroat or another creature you control dies, each opponent loses life and you gain life. Okay. So here's the deal with these Aristocrat decks. You need to be relatively good against removal, because as they shoot these things down one at a time, you need a certain density of them out so you get like all the triggers at once. And if you don't have that density out, then you like the whole deck can collapse. Interestingly enough, the deck does not appear to get shut down by like a Plague Engineer, because you have a balance of zombies, humans, and vampires, so that's good. Here's the one big problem with Return to the Ranks. There is a lot of graveyard hate out there. That is, I understand what the deal is here. Like, you try to get things going, and then all of us, like, you try to get, you know, all the creatures out. Whatever, they kill them. They kill them. You get some value. They kill them, and then you try to go Return to the Ranks, bring all the creatures back at once, because you can return X target creature cards with converted mana cost 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. So basically, you just return all these things back, and then your opponent's basically dead from there. But the problem is the graveyard hate is so extreme. Like, there's so much graveyard hate. You have to protect your graveyard somehow. Collective Brutality, Fragmentize. And I think the plan A is not, it's like okay, but it's fragile. I like the Carrion Feeder, because at the very least, you can get value out of this thing and make it bigger and bigger and bigger. I like the Carrion Feeder a lot. I don't know, chat, is there any way we can protect the graveyard? I don't know how to do that. Like, I don't know if there's any good way of doing it. Unless we've got, like, what's it called? Unless we have a new plan B post-board where we're not relying on the graveyard so much, and we rely on some other black-white synergy. So first off, the deck is fine. I actually think the list is fine. List is very clean. You got, like, really good numbers. I think you're utilizing really good cards. Maybe you should utilize some of the new cards. Kazgal is a good card, of course. What else? There is that 1-mana exile target card from a graveyard. But then, well, whatever. You want to use Nihil Spellbomb, that card is fine too. I have nothing really against the list. The only problem as the person who decided to take on the list is that you have to beat the graveyard hate. Because I think the number one problem for you is that your creatures are going to die, and then as they get exiled from the graveyard, you actually cannot return them back to the ranks. But outside of that, list is good. I think the numbers are good. You have the right creatures, and you have the right spells. So anyway, good luck with you. So, but anyway, that's all the time I have for today. So thanks, everyone, to To everyone who submitted questions, submitted deck lists, we had some great conversations. We had good stuff. If I didn't get to your question, if I did not get to your deck list, that's okay. Do you know why? Because we do this every single day, Monday to Friday. I won't be doing this tomorrow, though. I have an exam tomorrow, so nothing on Wednesday. No, there's going to be no stream on Wednesday. Stream Wednesday is canceled, but we're going to continue on Thursday, 11 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time, only here on twitch.tv /Nikachu MTG. Thank you very much to everyone who subscribed, all the new subscriptions today. I appreciate it. I'm glad that there are a lot of people who find value in these this morning show. And I guess we have to like send it off to somebody. We gotta like do the old raidsies on the internet. Who are we gonna raid here? Twitch.tv / or just twitch.tv. Yeah, good luck. Thank you very much, Matt Maddock. I'm gonna need it. I will send you to, hold on. I'm never as ready as I would like to be. I'll send you to Aspiring Spike. Why not? Aspiring Spike is great. Great modern player playing Teamer Joel Real, whatever that is. All right, so if you like to brew stuff, it sounds like he's on a brew right now. So Aspiring Spike, awesome. Gonna start the raid. Not a lot of modern content lately. Well, we gotta push up the modern content. I'm a modern player. I'm playing modern. We gotta support all the other modern streamers. So thank you very much for tuning in with me today. We had a great conversation. I love talking with all of you. Love your questions. I hope you enjoyed all the discussion, and I'll see you next time. Enjoy the stream with Aspiring Spike. Take care. Bye-bye.